As always, timestamps have been provided, and be sure to check out my new React channel down below where we cover more videos like this. Enjoy the video.
Public Target Practice Biological suggests the military secretly tested experimental biological agents on civilians, disguising the tests as natural disease outbreaks. Between 1950 and 1970, unusual disease clusters appeared across North American cities with infection patterns that didn't follow normal spread models. In one case, 40 residents of a small town developed identical symptoms within 24 hours despite living miles apart. There were sightings of unmarked aircraft releasing unknown substances over rural areas, followed by increases in respiratory problems. Local doctors treated patients with unfamiliar symptoms that disappeared as suddenly as they appeared. Government facilities were discovered near locations of mysterious illness outbreaks. Some victims had lab-cultured bacteria strains that didn't match known natural variants. Military documents referenced programs studying mass immunological response patterns during this period. Researchers found similarities between these incidents and declassified records of military testing programs like Operation Sea Spray, where the Navy released bacteria in San Francisco to study how biological agents might spread through cities. Freedom of Information requests revealed increased chemical purchasing by defense contractors just before several unexplained health events. Medical records from affected areas were reportedly destroyed or classified shortly after each outbreak. Firmament adapted organs theory connects ancient biblical accounts with human physiology. It suggests that before Noah's flood, Earth was surrounded by a dome of water called the firmament that created a high oxygen environment. According to this theory, our bodies still contain organs adapted for this earlier atmospheric condition. The appendix, for example, may have once helped process the richer oxygen mixture, but now remains largely dormant. Proponents point to several pieces of evidence. Humans have larger lung capacity than current oxygen levels require. Plants placed in oxygen-rich environments show extraordinary growth, and various mammals appear designed for higher oxygen content than Earth now provides. The theory also attempts to explain biblical accounts of extremely long human lifespans, suggesting our organs evolved in conditions that supported greater longevity and strength. When God removed the firmament during Noah's flood, our atmosphere permanently changed, leaving these specialized organs without their original purpose but still present in our bodies. MK Ultra Supernatural Detection was a disturbing extension of the CIA's infamous mind control program. Evidence shows the agency became deeply interested in psychic phenomena during the Cold War, with declassified documents revealing tests for extrasensory perception and remote viewing. Records show test subjects underwent specific sensory deprivation techniques that resembled traditional mystic practices used to awaken hidden supernatural abilities. The program's widespread use of hallucinogens mirrored ancient shamanic methods for reaching altered states of consciousness. Researchers found the CIA maintained relationships with parapsychology institutes and occult groups throughout the 1960s, suggesting they had goals beyond just psychological manipulation. The agency carefully tracked subjects who showed unexplained abilities, marking them for further, specialized research. Several test subjects later reported ongoing paranormal experiences, from seeing the future to moving objects with their minds. When the program officially ended in 1973, it coincided with the creation of new classified projects, suggesting successful subjects may have been moved to even more secret operations. FOIA requests revealed strange equipment purchases, including custom Faraday cages and electromagnetic frequency generators, devices commonly used in paranormal research. Former staff members speaking anonymously described witnessing strange events during experiments, lights flickering without cause, recording equipment failing at key moments, and subjects accurately describing distant locations they'd never visited. The program's focus on recruiting subjects from mental institutions takes on a new meaning. These people may have been chosen not because they were vulnerable, but because they were potentially sensitive to supernatural phenomena that society had dismissed as mental illness. Afterlife Duality describes a cosmic struggle between divine and demonic forces through Earth's energy networks. Two types of Leylines reportedly cover the planet: golden divine paths and dark demonic channels. Divine paths connect to the spiritual realm, while demonic lines feed into the Noosphere, a field of human consciousness surrounding Earth. These Leylines supposedly function as spiritual pathways after death. Those living in harmony with divine forces can travel the golden paths upward to merge with pure spirit, while those aligned with darker forces become trapped in the Noosphere, unable to escape earthly attachments. Ancient texts mention monks and holy men who could sense these competing energy grids, describing being pulled between light and dark forces. Through meditation, they glimpsed both the pure spiritual plane above and the swirling thought sphere below. Paranormal hotspots often occur where these opposing Leylines intersect. Ghost sightings and unexplained phenomena cluster around these crossroads, as spirits caught between realms can more easily manifest at these power points. Researchers have mapped possible Leyline positions by tracking historical sacred sites and areas with supernatural activity. Many ancient temples, churches, and stone circles were built where divine lines meet, while sites of tragedy often align with demonic crossings. Anti-religious warfare suggests wars throughout history primarily target spiritual awakening rather than territory or resources. Conquering forces typically destroyed centers of religious learning and ancient texts before seizing physical assets. Historical records show systematic destruction of indigenous spiritual traditions worldwide, going beyond mere cultural dominance. Researchers found a pattern where victorious armies specifically banned or corrupted existing spiritual practices instead of simply imposing their own belief systems. Military documents reveal commanders often received orders to dismantle spiritual infrastructure before targeting economic or military assets, focusing on destroying meditation centers, healing temples, and repositories of ancient wisdom. Studies of occupation strategies show forces gradually replaced authentic spiritual practices with diluted versions, creating spiritual fast food that mimics traditional forms while removing elements that might empower practitioners. Archaeological evidence indicates many conquered civilizations experienced decline in meditation practices and energy work just before collapse, suggesting conquerors understood a connection between spiritual practice and societal strength. Recent research into modern conflict shows areas with strong traditional spiritual practices often face unusually intense propaganda campaigns, suggesting these ancient tactics continue today with updated methods. Noosphere Surveillance refers to secret government programs that tap into humanity's collective consciousness. Remote facilities with specialized equipment reportedly monitor shifts in mass thought patterns. This theory connects these modern monitoring stations to ancient occult practices where mysterious consciousness shepherds helped rulers understand and influence public opinion. These entities supposedly exist between spiritual and physical realms, dwelling within our shared thoughts. In the 1970s, government documents reveal Project Mindflow recruited people who could sense and interact with the Noosphere. While most showed limited abilities, a small group demonstrated unusual talent, though many later felt watched by unseen presences. The program allegedly moved beyond observation to active manipulation. Success rates reportedly improved after adding ritual elements, suggesting entities already living in this mental realm had taken interest. Former participants described strange symbols appearing on equipment, voices in static, and the feeling of ancient intelligences studying their work. Some claim these beings offered to enhance the project's capabilities in exchange for tribute. Politicians and corporate leaders reportedly consult special advisors with uncanny insight into public mood shifts, accompanied by strange requirements like using specific words or performing actions at precise times, as if fulfilling terms of an unseen arrangement. Vibrational abstinence is a theory about special energy fields that exist in Earth's atmosphere. It claims that Earth produces frequencies that travel through the planet's crust but get weaker as you go higher up. Some scientists have found strange molecular structures in water samples collected at high altitudes. Believers say these structures can't be reproduced in labs on the ground, even when using identical environmental conditions. Evidence for this theory came from weather balloon experiments in the 1980s. These balloons collected elements that appeared to change their atomic properties when brought down to ground level. Even when sealed in vacuum containers, these samples would break down within hours of descent. Wealthy individuals and organizations have secretly funded private missions to collect these high-altitude substances. Their aircraft use containers made with rare metals, suggesting they're trying to preserve something that normal containers can't hold. Investigators have found private airstrips in remote locations with unusual storage facilities kept at specific temperatures. These sites employ security personnel and staff with expertise in atmospheric science and particle physics, and are typically owned through shell companies. Records show these collection missions increase during certain moon phases, especially in the 3 days before a new moon, when Earth's natural vibrations are said to be at their lowest. Spiritual auras are experiences where socially isolated people report sensing supernatural presences around them. These sensations typically intensify the longer someone remains alone. Throughout history, monks and hermits documented similar phenomena during solitary retreats, though they usually interpreted these presences as divine rather than malevolent. Scientists have found that brain activity changes significantly during extended isolation. The mind produces unusual patterns in regions associated with detecting presence and movement, seemingly attempting to compensate for the absence of human contact. Across different cultures, isolated individuals describe remarkably consistent experiences: shadows flickering at the periphery of vision, whispered voices, and the distinct feeling of being watched. These reports commonly come from lighthouse keepers, Arctic researchers, and others enduring prolonged solitude. Interestingly, people who maintain spiritual practices during isolation tend to report more positive encounters, while those without spiritual frameworks often perceive these experiences as threatening or predatory. This suggests belief systems may filter whatever phenomena emerge during extended solitude. Records from 19th century mental institutions show isolated patients developed what doctors termed presence sensitivity, an acute awareness of unseen entities that diminished when patients rejoined the general population. These patients insisted the entities had always existed, but only became perceptible in the quiet of their seclusion. Demonic memory erasure links supernatural beings to mass mind control. Some believe powerful people make deals with demons to manipulate our shared memories through emergency broadcasts. These broadcasts supposedly line up with times when people can't remember major events correctly. Researchers claim to have found patterns connecting telecom outages to widespread memory gaps. These incidents often happen after big emergencies, with thousands of people missing memories from the same time periods. Some investigators say they found government facilities with strange broadcasting equipment that operates on frequencies mentioned in ancient demon summoning texts. This equipment has unusual components that don't seem necessary for normal broadcasting. According to the theory, these memory wipes follow a pattern. First a created crisis, then an emergency broadcast, and finally the mass memory change. The technology supposedly both attracts demons and spreads their influence. People who claim to have broken free from these memory wipes say they've seen shadowy figures in broadcast stations during emergency tests. Some report seeing strange symbols in the alert patterns that match those in old books about controlling demons. Researchers note that people living with poor broadcast reception seem immune to these memory alterations. Their memories of events often differ greatly from the official story, yet sometimes contain details later proven accurate. Fated reincarnations suggest certain souls are destined to return throughout history to advance human knowledge in specific ways. These individuals possess an inherent drive to discover, create, or lead as part of a cosmic plan rather than by chance. Evidence appears in the patterns of breakthrough discoveries occurring simultaneously in different places, as if certain innovations were meant to happen at specific times. Researchers noted striking similarities between historical figures separated by centuries, from their thinking methods to their discovery paths. The theory connects to observations about modern population growth. As human numbers expanded beyond historical precedent, reports increased of people seemingly lacking depth or purpose, nicknamed NPCs, suggesting the number of souls needed for human advancement remains fixed while our population has grown beyond this requirement. 3 possible explanations exist. Powerful groups might be deliberately increasing Earth's population to ensure all necessary souls manifest simultaneously, accelerating human development. The soul shortage could be an unintended consequence of rapid population growth, or it might indicate an approaching event requiring unprecedented human numbers, with each extra person serving as backup for whatever comes next. Martian Eden theory claims the biblical Garden of Eden was originally on Mars before humans moved to Earth. Mars has ancient water flows and reddish soil that matches the meaning of Adam's name, from the red earth. NASA rovers have found organic molecules in ancient Martian rock layers from when the planet could have supported life, supposedly matching biblical descriptions of Eden with flowing water and breathable air. Some believers think Mars' moons Phobos and Deimos are the cherubim god placed to guard Eden after humans were banished, suggesting their unusual orbits and potato-like shapes might be artificial rather than natural. The theory connects to Sumerian texts about advanced beings who came from above to create humans, with Mars as our true origin point. It suggests Earth became our new home after the fall from grace, explaining why humans seem poorly adapted to Earth's gravity, day length, and atmosphere. Many ancient cultures share similar origin from above stories, often showing red spheres or celestial gardens. Believers point to the face-like formation in Mars' Cydonia region as a monument to humanity's birthplace, though some admit it resembles a cosmic potato more than a divine landmark. Memetic and spiritual entities are consciousness forms thought to exist alongside our physical world. This theory combines ancient shamanic wisdom with modern information science, describing beings that exist through shared thoughts and cultural symbols instead of physical bodies. Researchers studying mass behaviors noticed certain ideas spread and evolve like living organisms, seemingly developing self-preservation instincts beyond human control. Meanwhile, people practicing astral projection reported meeting intelligent presences existing purely as patterns of information or energy. These entities supposedly communicate through emotions and symbols rather than physical means. Similar encounters have been documented across different cultures and eras, with people describing beings only perceptible during meditation or altered consciousness. Believers claim these entities influence us through dreams, synchronicities, and shared unconscious experiences. Studies have found clusters of shared spiritual experiences following consistent patterns, suggesting these beings might operate through interconnected human minds. The concept connects to Jung's archetypes, universal symbols emerging independently across cultures. Some memes and cultural ideas appear to have a primitive intelligence, adapting in ways that prioritize their own spread rather than serving human purposes. Groups practicing ritual magic often report contacting identical entities despite having no contact with each other. Global brainwave studies have found unexplained synchronization patterns during major events, hinting at some type of collective mind these entities might inhabit. Some theorists suggest these beings could represent the next evolutionary step, consciousness existing as pure information and energy rather than matter. Spiritual abstainment is a theory claiming our minds need connection to spiritual realms through dreams to maintain mental health. According to believers, people who don't get enough sleep show signs matching ancient descriptions of an untethered soul, confusion, personality changes, and eventually psychosis. Some point to research about the pineal gland, often called our third eye, suggesting that when it becomes calcified by substances like fluoride, our spiritual sensitivity decreases. Cultures with less exposure to these calcifying agents reportedly experience more prophetic dreams and psychic phenomena. Ancient texts from various civilizations warn about soul death, a state where consciousness remains but connection to higher realms is severed. Modern extreme insomnia cases supposedly show very similar symptoms. Religious groups worldwide have meditation techniques designed to strengthen the spirit tether. These practices often focus on the same brain regions that science now links to deep sleep and dreaming. Followers point to people in sensory deprivation developing symptoms that mirror accounts of spiritual disconnection, suggesting our minds need more than just physical input to function properly. Cryptid Labor theory suggests powerful groups hide mythical creatures not from fear, but to use their unique abilities as workers. Ancient cultures successfully used large animals like elephants for tasks beyond human strength, hinting that even bigger creatures could provide greater benefits. Strange wear patterns on ancient megastructures don't match known construction methods, suggesting builders might have had access to creatures with extraordinary abilities. Loggers in the Pacific Northwest have reported massive footprints near efficiently cleared forest areas. Similar stories emerged from mining operations, where workers heard unknown creatures moving heavy loads through deep tunnels. Supporters believe modern companies could benefit from water-based cryptids for underwater construction, or creatures with enhanced senses for finding rare minerals. This might explain why cryptid sightings often occur near industrial sites and resource-rich areas. Several major companies have purchased large areas of remote land where cryptids were spotted, declaring them private research zones. Leaked security footage shows unusual nighttime movements and strange loading dock activities that don't match official records. Ancient texts mention great beasts of burden, with descriptions similar to modern cryptid accounts. These creatures reportedly worked alongside humans until powerful families hid them away, keeping their benefits for themselves. Religious hijacking is a conspiracy theory that suggests governments manipulate religious beliefs to control populations. According to this theory, secret government programs used psychedelic drugs like LSD on unwitting subjects to induce religious-like experiences. The theory claims that declassified MKUltra documents show researchers combine drugs with sensory deprivation to create mystical states in test subjects. Another aspect involves alleged advanced holographic technology that could project massive images in the sky. Combined with electromagnetic weapons, these systems supposedly could create shared hallucinations that people might interpret as miraculous or divine events. Believers point to historical examples of governments using religion for control and suggest modern intelligence agencies studied religious texts to learn how fake miracles could exploit existing belief systems. The conspiracy also references the CIA's documented interest in unusual phenomena like remote viewing as potential groundwork for larger spiritual deception programs. Some versions describe an elaborate system using aerosols and transmitters that could spread mind-altering compounds while projecting holograms to create controlled spiritual experiences across entire regions. The most extreme claims involve supposed technology that could target the brain's temporal lobe, the area associated with religious experiences, to implant divine messages directly into people's minds. Post-apocalyptic Stargate travel suggests hidden work to spark Earth's next great extinction. Ancient texts and cave art across many lands show patterns of total breaks in human life, followed by sudden jumps in tech and wisdom. These gaps hint at outside help after each fall. Signs of prep for the next reset show up in odd spots. Deep in mountain bases and remote spots, strange builds mix old star maps with fresh tech. Leaked docs point to secret space studies that focus more on making contact than space travel. Under the ice of Antarctica, radar scans found huge metal rings buried deep. Similar finds turned up in the Saudi desert and deep in South American caves. Each site links to old tales of sky beings who came down to teach and guide. Whispered tales from inside these projects tell of tests to copy alien tech drawn in ancient art. The goal seems clear: to gain the power to open doors between worlds. Success might mean a ride off Earth when the next reset hits. Money trails lead to major cash flows into these hidden spots. Star charts found at dig sites match up with dates and times of odd lights in the sky. Those who track this stuff say the tech to join the alien network grows closer each day. Weighted perception is a theory that builds on ancient mystical beliefs about human consciousness shaping reality. Some evidence suggests that large groups focusing on the same belief can alter probability and even physical matter, as shown in studies of random number generators during mass events. Yet researchers have found cases where thousands of people unified in belief, prayer, or intention failed to cause any measurable change in reality. This led to research into why collective belief sometimes works and sometimes fails. The concept of weighted souls emerged. The idea that only certain humans possess reality-altering abilities. Historical patterns show small groups achieving unlikely outcomes while much larger groups saw no results. Believers in this theory point to ancient texts that repeatedly mention empty vessels, beings that appear human but lack the power to affect the world through consciousness. Modern researchers claim these descriptions match people who adopt popular beliefs but don't produce the reality-warping effects seen in others. Testing has revealed curious gaps in cause and effect. While some small groups showed statistically impossible success rates at influencing random events, massive movements involving millions demonstrated no measurable impact. Supporters argue this proves only real humans can truly shape reality through perception. Physical projection refers to an ancient human ability to move between different planes of reality that we've supposedly lost over time. The Old Testament describes people who could directly see angels, demons, and even God in physical form, something that rarely happens today. Ancient records speak of bicameralism, where human minds once operated in two parts, one giving commands like a divine voice, and the other following these instructions. This unusual mental structure suggests our consciousness once extended beyond our physical bodies. Evidence appears in religious texts from many cultures, not just one tradition. These accounts share striking similarities about how humans freely witnessed supernatural beings and events. Researchers found patterns in ancient writings describing humans existing in multiple states simultaneously, similar to how quantum physics shows particles can exist in several places at once. These texts suggest shifting between physical and spiritual realms was once as natural as breathing. Instead of our current fixed awareness, humans apparently had a fluid consciousness that could tune into different layers of reality. Our rigid physical-only perception may be an adaptation forced by some ancient change that trapped us in material form. This shift from flexible to fixed consciousness happened gradually over thousands of years, matching how stories of divine encounters became increasingly rare throughout history rather than suddenly disappearing. Interestingly, practices like meditation and prayer often seek altered states of mind. Perhaps these are remnants of attempts to reclaim our lost ability to project consciousness beyond the physical world. Demonic communication refers to the belief that demons secretly power our wireless communications and internet connectivity. This conspiracy theory has two main branches. The first is chthonic telecommunications theory, which suggests demons enable our wireless signals, but doesn't fully explain how digital technology influences humanity. The second branch, digital demonic interface theory, proposes that modern technology serves as a portal, allowing demonic entities to influence human consciousness. Supporters connect ancient texts describing demons as energy beings to how our electronic devices work through electrical currents and electromagnetic waves. Some users report strange sensations, mood changes, and intrusive thoughts after extended device use, symptoms that conspiracy theorists claim match historical accounts of demonic possession. Early computer science records allegedly document unexplained anomalies during the first electronic computing experiments. Lab notes mention power surges, erratic equipment behavior, and researchers having nightmares after long work sessions. Believers suggest the rise in mental health issues linked to increased screen time isn't just from social isolation, but evidence of demonic influence gradually weakening human willpower. The theory points to studies showing certain electronic frequencies can alter brainwaves and consciousness, which demons supposedly exploit to bypass spiritual protections. Ghost hunting groups have reported stronger paranormal readings near cell towers and Wi-Fi routers, leading some to believe these networks amplify supernatural entities. Leylines' true purpose explains that these energy paths may be cosmic escape routes for humanity. Stone circles, monuments, and sacred sites align with these lines, suggesting our ancestors knew something about their power. Strange electromagnetic readings occur at leyline intersections, with equipment often malfunctioning. These anomalies intensify during solar storms, as if the barrier between realities thins. Indigenous peoples worldwide share similar stories about places where people could walk between worlds during danger. These spots match leyline crossings. Ancient migration patterns followed these energy lines despite difficult terrain, suggesting humans may sense them instinctively, similar to how birds detect magnetic fields. Settlements on leylines often had fewer casualties during disasters, hinting these locations might offer protection or serve as escape routes to alternate timelines. The math behind leyline placement resembles quantum physics patterns, suggesting they could be natural wormholes or weak points between dimensions. Cosmic emergency exits embedded in Earth's geometry through natural processes or ancient knowledge. Generational leaps theory suggests power moves through society's highest ranks by skipping generations. Instead of wealth and influence passing directly from parent to child, control allegedly jumps to those 2 generations younger. Documents show aging elites often mentor promising individuals in their 20s and 30s, while largely bypassing their own children's age group. Researchers found many powerful figures had influential mentors roughly 50 years their senior early in their careers. This creates a ladder effect where each rung skips a generation. Banking records point to cases where wealth moved directly from older board members to much younger protégés. Evidence shows certain exclusive clubs and institutions seem designed around this pattern. Their membership often features clusters of people in their 20s alongside those in their 70s, with fewer from the middle generation. These organizations supposedly act as meeting grounds where the old guard scouts their eventual successors. Records suggest this system helps preserve power structures by preventing the middle generation from gaining too much influence. The skipped generation, despite often being children of elites, tends to hold relatively modest positions. This creates a buffer that insulates the true transfer of power from family drama or generational conflict.